Hello and welcome to this video on the biography of Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Muhammad Ali, born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., was not just a legendary boxer, but also a cultural icon and an inspiration to millions around the world. In this video, we'll take a look at his incredible life story, from his early years to his rise as a sports legend, his activism and his legacy. Early life. Muhammad Ali was born on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky. He grew up in a segregated community and experienced racism and discrimination from a young age. Despite these challenges, Ali showed a natural talent for boxing and began training when he was just 12 years old. He was coached by Joe Martin, who saw potential in the young Clay and began to hone his skills. Rise to fame. Ali's rise to fame began in 1960 when he won a gold medal in the light heavyweight division at the Rome Olympics. He turned professional later that year and quickly became known for his fast footwork, powerful punches, and his ability to taunt and trash-talk his opponents. In 1964, he won his first world heavyweight title against Sonny Liston and famously declared, "I am the greatest." He changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali shortly after, citing his conversion to Islam. Activism. Ali's career was interrupted in 1967 when he refused to be drafted into the Vietnam War, citing his religious beliefs and opposition to the war. He was stripped of his titles and banned from boxing for several years. During this time, he became a prominent activist for civil rights and spoke out against racism and injustice. He famously stated, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. No Viet Cong ever called me nigger." Comeback. In 1970, Ali's ban from boxing was lifted, and he began his comeback. He won back his titles in fights against George Foreman and Joe Frazier and cemented his status as one of the greatest boxers of all time. His fights were watched by millions around the world, and he became a cultural icon and a symbol of strength and resilience. Later years and legacy. Ali retired from boxing in 1981, but remained active in philanthropy and humanitarian work. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1984, which he attributed to his years in the ring. Despite his illness, he continued to inspire people around the world with his courage, wisdom, and perseverance. He passed away on June 3, 2016, at the age of 74, leaving behind a legacy that transcends sport. One notable aspect of Ali's career was his approach to boxing. He was renowned for his speed, agility, and innovative techniques, such as the Ali Shuffle and the rope-a-dope. He was also known for his ability to read his opponents and adapt his strategy accordingly. His fights were often highly entertaining, with Ali taunting and trash-talking his opponents in the ring. Another important aspect of Ali's life was his activism. He was a vocal advocate for civil rights and social justice, and he used his platform as a world-famous athlete to speak out against racism and inequality. His refusal to be drafted into the Vietnam War was a significant moment in the history of the anti-war movement, and his activism inspired many others to take a stand against injustice. Ali's legacy also extends beyond his achievements in boxing and his activism. He was a cultural icon whose influence can be seen in music, film, and fashion. He was a larger-than-life figure who inspired people around the world with his charisma, wit, and courage. Even after his death, he continues to inspire new generations with his message of resilience and determination. One interesting aspect of his boxing career was his rivalry with Joe Frazier. The two fighters faced each other 3 times in the ring, with Frazier winning the first bout in 1971 and Ali winning the next 2 in 1974 and 1975. The fights were incredibly intense and became known as some of the greatest boxing matches in history. Their rivalry was also fueled by personal animosity between the two fighters, with Ali often insulting Frazier in the press. Another notable aspect of Ali's life was his conversion to Islam. He joined the Nation of Islam in the 1960s and changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. His decision to convert and his outspokenness about his beliefs made him a controversial figure at the time, but also earned him respect among many in the African American community. Later in life, Ali would become more moderate in his religious views and would even reach out to leaders of other religions, including the Pope. Ali's philanthropic work was also an important part of his legacy. He was involved in numerous charitable organizations, including the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center, which he founded to support those suffering from Parkinson's disease. He also worked with organizations that supported children's rights, hunger relief, and education. In 1998, he was named a United Nations Messenger of Peace in recognition of his humanitarian work. It's worth noting that Ali's impact on popular culture extended beyond his boxing career. He was a frequent guest on talk shows and sitcoms, and he even appeared in movies such as The Greatest and When We Were Kings. His catchphrases, such as "float like a butterfly, sting like a bee," became part of the cultural lexicon, and his persona as a brash, confident athlete inspired countless imitators. In addition to his activism, Ali was also known for his larger-than-life personality and his charismatic presence. He was a master of self-promotion, with a gift for creating memorable catchphrases and showmanship that made him a fan favorite. His fights were often accompanied by elaborate pre-fight hype and theatrics, which helped to build his legend as a boxer and a cultural icon. Despite his fame and success, Ali faced many challenges throughout his life. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1984, which gradually worsened over time. However, he continued to be a vocal advocate for social justice and remained a beloved figure until his death in 2016. Ali also had a number of famous fights during his career, including his bouts with Joe Frazier, George Foreman, and Sonny Liston. His fight with Frazier in 1971, known as the Fight of the Century, was one of the most highly anticipated matches in boxing history. The two fighters went toe-to-toe for 15 rounds, with Frazier ultimately winning the decision. However, Ali would go on to beat Frazier in 2 subsequent fights, cementing his status as one of the greatest boxers of all time. In addition to his success in the ring, Ali was also a savvy businessman and entrepreneur. He was involved in a number of business ventures, including a line of clothing and a chain of restaurants, and was known for his shrewd negotiating skills. Despite his many achievements, Ali was also a controversial figure at times. He made a number of inflammatory remarks over the course of his career, including some that were seen as sexist and homophobic. However, he also acknowledged these mistakes and worked to make amends in later years. In addition to his work in sports, Ali was also a powerful symbol of resistance and activism. He was a vocal opponent of war, racism, and inequality, and was willing to take unpopular stands on controversial issues. His courage and conviction inspired many others to speak out and fight for justice, both in the United States and around the world. Ali's political activism was not limited to the issue of the Vietnam War, however. He was also a vocal supporter of the civil rights movement and worked closely with leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. He spoke out against racism and inequality, and was willing to take unpopular stands on controversial issues. Ali's conversion to Islam was a significant event in the context of the civil rights movement. At a time when African Americans were fighting for equality and struggling against discrimination, Ali's conversion to Islam was seen by many as a way to assert his identity and challenge the dominant culture. It also helped to raise awareness about Islam and its teachings in the United States. One of the defining features of Ali's persona was his quick wit and his gift for self-promotion. He was known for his colorful interviews, his trash-talking of opponents, and his mastery of the art of showmanship. His fights were often accompanied by elaborate pre-fight hype and theatrics, which helped to build his legend as a boxer and a cultural icon. Ali was also celebrated for his sense of style, which combined flamboyance with elegance. He was known for his custom-made suits, his colorful ties, and his signature sunglasses. His fashion sense helped to establish him as a trendsetter and a fashion icon. In addition to his impact on pop culture, Ali was also a powerful symbol of hope and inspiration to people all over the world. He was a trailblazer who broke down barriers and paved the way for future generations of athletes and activists. He was also a philanthropist who used his resources to make a difference in the lives of others. Ali was known for his courage and his resilience in the face of his illness. He continued to make public appearances and to speak out on issues of social and political importance even as his condition worsened. He also used his platform to promote research into Parkinson's disease and to advocate for better treatment options for people with the condition. Conclusion. In conclusion, Muhammad Ali's life story is one of triumph over adversity, of courage and conviction, and of a relentless pursuit of excellence. He was not just a boxer, but a cultural icon, an activist, and a humanitarian. He inspired generations of people around the world with his message of hope and his unwavering commitment to his beliefs. Muhammad Ali truly was the greatest of all time. Thank you for watching.